Hey there, everybody, it's Wayne D. Welcome to the website. It's WayneD.com, and we're looking at Zachary Lease. Zach is a student of mine. We've been working for a couple of years. He's a professional trying to play in some mini tours and qualifiers and see if he can get some status. Really made some big improvements in Zach's swing. Still have a couple of issues, and in this particular case, Zach was questioning, hadn't been hitting it great, and he was wondering if his right leg was getting a little bit too deep, and he was worried, not worried, but sort of focused on his head movement. And I think he's got the right idea what his head is doing, and but I wanted to show him that the right leg depth is going to be a good thing as long as it doesn't sit under him quite as much. So if we put Zach in the typical Wayne D lines, you're going to see some really good stuff here. So as we know in the backswing from face on, we want the hips to stay mostly in the box. We'd like to load slightly to the right. I don't mind seeing some lowering because that's indicating some compression and loading into the right side. And in the downswing, when we load again into the right and use the ground, we're going to see some more lowering. So there's a position of power right here that you'll see in a lot of good players nowadays. I like the lateral movement. I like where the right elbow and the club is. Now Zach sports a fairly weak grip, so his face is open quite a while, but he knows how to turn it down. Watch the impact. Really nice. So we'd all like to be looking like that. Now it's interesting, you see the squatted look here when you look at where the knees are, but it's not a sit down squat, it's a shift. So it's the sit down look, but it's shifted to the left. So that's what I would say was more beneficial than just sitting and spinning. So let's look at this is where I would focus on. If we watch, let's make this picture a little bigger. So we've worked the takeaway not to get too upright here, and as you can see, it's pretty close to being right on plane, and if anywhere I'd like it to be a little vertical plane, which you see it is. And it sets up nicely at the top. You can see with that weak grip the face looks a bit open, and then Zach's got a really nice hand path movement here, but this is nice depth in that right leg. So I was wondering if I thought that his right leg was getting too deep, and what I would say, if we stick up this swing, what I would say is that his right leg is not getting too deep, but with a little bit of head back up, it may be that the legs are getting a little bit too flexed, which is causing it to be slightly, his lower body's getting a little bit underneath. So if we watch Hogan, watch the amazing depth that he gets in the right leg. Now this is Hogan before his accident. So in his accident, he broke his pelvis, and amongst other injuries, and eventually had to wrap his legs. So you're not going to see this kind of body movement in Hogan in his later swings, or at least not to this degree. But you can see plenty of lowering. But the big key here, as we watch where Zach's right leg is going to go, it's very similar. But Zach's head is going to move the opposite direction. It's going to move back a little bit. And then when he starts forward, take a look at so right here, I think this is the important frame here at P6. Look at the amount of flex in the legs. Big difference. So as Zach's forehead ends up away from its starting point, Hogan stays out over it. So to me, it just looks like Zach's, even though his knees aren't way out from, it looks about the same amount of forward in that right leg, but the amount of flex in the back up here just looks like his upper body is back this way more, and Hogan looks out over it. So that's what I'm going to say here. Let's see in the backswing. And in the start down, if we can try to keep the pelvis a little bit more tilted by keeping the upper body more forward. Now this isn't that easy to practice and remedy, because there's really not much you can do to stick something up here to get a feel for whether or not you're staying out over the ball. So it's really more of a mental thought. And I think right in this area here in Zach's swing, he's going to need to feel more like the right side of the pelvis when it changes direction will push the left side more upward as he keeps his head out over the ball. So we're going to try to feel like there's not as much knee flex. So as we go through it, let me look at where the upper right leg is. Pretty simple. I think we just focus on the head, staying out forward, keeping that pelvis tilted, and try not to feel like when we transition there's quite as much flex in the legs. All right?